eighth wonder of the world. Where would you rather be, except Las Vegas maybe, but this probably tops that.
Or Triple R Studios.
Triple R Studios, yeah. We're away from home. It's an away game today, but we're up for it. So, as always, on my right, Sugar Ray Nosti.
Oh, thank you. I'm home. I feel like I'm home. I've done many things here, and I'll tell you about that later. But
behind the scoreboard, was it?
Behind the scoreboard.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell you.
What was his name?
No, it wasn't. Oh, was it? I thought it was...
Sorry.
Opposite me, Mike Big Roy Whitney. And as I always do, mate, I throw to you because, you know, about the eighth wonder of the world, this needs a big intro, and you can deliver, mate.
Well, we're here in the grandstand in the Centurions Lounge.
Beautiful, isn't it?
At Leichhardt Oval. And over the past few months, the conversation about Leichhardt has really, like, the cream has risen to the top because there's an expectation that if there's not money spent on this ground, at some stage the ground might fall into a state of disrepair and the locals may lose the ground. So we're here doing a podcast today because it's such a topical subject and we want to weigh in on it. And one of the best people that we could find to weigh in is our old mate, our old band buddy, and almost a good guy. No, we love you, Junior. Wayne Junior Pearce.
Which, it's great to be here. Just looking out over this ground brings back so many memories as we see a 747 jet just going overhead. People should understand this, that just to the north of the Oval, adjacent to the rowing club down, which is about 200 metres away, is the beacon that actually lines planes up with the north-south runway at the airport.
Oh, is that right?
So if planes are on the north-south runway, generally we'll get a couple of minutes between planes.
Yes.
When I used to live opposite the Oval, it actually used to be enough time to sort of go out to the toilet and get back before the next... you can hear the show again.
Junior, let's start there. Let's start there because I just walked across the road with you outside the front gates of Leichhardt Oval. We've known each other a long time and I knew you grew up close to the ground. But, mate, you could putt across the road from where you were. And I said to you over there, you know, after school, did you used to come in? You said your dad was not the groundsman, the caretaker. So you and Pud and your other brother in here kicking footies around.
So we had the keys to the ground because he was the caretaker. So, yeah, so
well, you were fucked from the start, Junior. You had no way you were not going to play for the Tigers.
Well, it goes back beyond that, before that, because the old days, Birchgrove Oval was the home ground of the Tigers, and that was when the Tigers came into the competition. And my junior footy club, the Balmain Police Boys, who I played for, we used to train there a couple of times a week and play our matches, our home matches at Birchgrove Oval. So that was my pedigree when I lived in East Balmain, little one-bedroom place down there we were all squeezed into when I was a kid.
But Birchgrove, what a view. Like,
yeah,
you know, when I was with the junior league with North Ryde Hawks, we'd play a lot of our games there.
Plug, Ray.
Yeah,
North Ryde Hawks.
North Ryde Hawks, the mighty Hawks. Hawks!
Because you're looking over the water there at Birchgrove.
Yeah,
as well,
it's unbelievable. Now, they want to take the Oval from them.
The
residents.
Yeah, no,
Is that another one we have to fight for?
I find that hard to believe. But going back to when the Tigers used to play their home games there, teams like North Sydney used to come across on a ferry because there was no harbour bridge back then, right? Man. And they used to come across on a ferry. I can't remember this, by the way.
No. Great history, man. Yeah.
But there was a wharf there and the ferry used to drop the players off.
Well, you can remember because you were on that movie back in...
First Kangaroos.
Yeah, the First Kangaroos. Yeah. So you're a pretty old bloke, but you're looking fantastic, actually. Fantastic. Anyway.
The history, but... Junior, of grounds like Birchgrove and Leichhardt, it's you try to explain. It's like me talking about Coogee Oval or the SCG, which was my home for New South Wales playing state cricket. Man, you give blood on these grounds. You come there as a kid and you watch the grounds. Your heroes have played on the grounds. Then you're on the ground. You can't believe that you're on the ground. And that's for the playing side of it. But there's all the people that come to watch that never go on the ground. Never walk, maybe after the game when they let everybody run on the ground. It's a spiritual home for them. It's hallowed turf, and I can't believe the conversations that come up almost every year, every other year of, that ground's not really relevant now, we'll knock it down and put home units there. Come on. It's our history, and it's the history of the rugby league. It's part of Balmain's history and now West Tigers' history.
Yeah, I think apart from the fact that you've got to keep green open space for people to have recreation time on and play on, I think the fact is that we've got a connection not just to each other as human beings, but we have a connection to the earth. I honestly believe we have a connection to a place where we feel peaceful, we feel tranquil, or we feel centred. And for me, Leichhardt Oval certainly represents that, and Birchgrove Oval for a lot of people.
And ELS Hall.
Which were the North Right Hawks, by the way. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Plug.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to life and the way we experience life than just living day to day. There is a connection to the past, and this ground is a ground that's not just a rugby league ground. I mean, the soccer posts are out there at the moment because Sydney FC have got a game coming up here. There's the rugby union use it a lot. Junior league, junior sport, junior athletics. It's used. It's a community asset. But the thing is, there hasn't been any significant investment in this ground since it was reconfigured. Because it used to run east-west.
50 years, I remember that.
When I lived opposite the ground, it was actually running the other way when we moved in there. And during that period that I was staying there, it was dug up, and the ground was actually dug up. They went down about 2 metres. The surface of the ground was about 2 metres higher then. They wanted to create an amphitheatre, which is the way you view the ground now. Yeah. So they actually dug all the soil out. And that took 2 years, and the Balmain Tigers back then actually relocated their home ground was the Sydney Sports Ground.
Yeah. Wow.
And then it reopened back in here in 1983, and then that was when the midweek rugby league competitions were being played, and there was a whole lot of history about it. But I think, Dawsey, you've done a fair bit of homework on the history of it, haven't you?
Yeah, just 1934, and it just goes back that long. But just I was going to ask you before that, Junior, as we're like looking out from the Centurions lens, what was it like running out onto this ground when there's like 18? How many people it holds?
Did it sound like
what's that sensation running out into this full ground?
And did it feel like 50,000?
Yeah, it was amazing. I can remember I got played at a record. There was a record crowd, I think. Back in '89, we played against maybe Canberra or someone like that. It was like 22,000 or something, I think, here, and they were sitting on the roofs of the houses over beyond the hill over there. We're looking over the hill, and it was amazing. But when there was a big crowd here, which was quite often back in the old days when I was playing, then you could just feel the tempo in the dressing sheds. It wasn't just when you ran out; it was in the dressing sheds. And you could hear the chant at the start up, Tigers, Tigers. And as you walked onto the ground, you felt bulletproof. Yeah, that's right.
Laurie Nichols.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Laurie Nichols.
Out the front.
Great Laurie Nichols there, shadow boxing out there. But Laurie would be in the sheds with the players warming up, and he'd be going around giving you a little whisper in the ear. Come on, champion, you can do it today. We're going to win this today. Blah, blah, blah.
And a tap on the arse.
Yeah,
he used to do that all the time, didn't he? A little tap on the arse.
Mate, he shadowboxed more rounds than any human on earth. Didn't he? It's unbelievable.
Well, when we first got here, Ray showed me the home dressing room at the Tigers, and just walking in there, even as a modern day player, I would love, as an away player coming here, because it's so much history in those dressing rooms. It would be like it's so different to the modern dressing room. Everything's in its place, but looking wonderful. In there, it's just the energy and the history in that room. It's like it's massive.
Junior, can I interrupt for a second? Just you were talking about it does a lot of things. You remember us playing here out there for Christmas for kids?
Yeah.
And they had us on the back of a truck out there, and so they have everything here.
Yeah. Now there's it's as I said, it's a community asset, and there's not a lot of these sort of grounds that are around. In fact, in the inner west, there's really nothing that compares to this.
No.
Do you have one particular game? Because I bring up this question because Spud Carroll was going to try and make it here, but he couldn't make it today. And you sort of think, why would Spud be interested in coming to Leichhardt Oval? But he did tell me that the best game he's ever played was in a Jersey Flegg grand final here, Panthers versus the Steelers, and he was throwing 30-metre cutout passes and chipping over the top as a lock. So for even players...
That was the last time he played first grade.
He told me he chipped and chased in that game as well, and I said, was that the last time you chipped and chased in Jersey Flegg?
And he said Tim Sheen was in the stand that game, and that's when they graded him. But even for players who don't play for the Tigers, how many players have come here and taken part in those massive games who have those memories?
Massive memories.
Do you have any particular games that stick in your mind here, or it's probably there's so many of those games?
Yeah, no, there's honestly there's no one game that stands out. I mean, I can remember playing in a game with the great Larry Corowa. We played here in the early 1980s.
Tried to get him down here.
And I'm looking at the ground now, out from up here, and in that far southeastern corner, he got the ball about 5 metres out from the try line. He was that quick. He stepped and straightened and stepped and straightened and scored in the opposite corner at the northern end, in the western corner. So he would have run 120 metres, 130 metres, but he beat probably 6 or 7 players. And for me, that was just probably the one memory that really, because I was on his team, and I'm just looking and going, how did you do this?
Remarkable.
I remember Larry, he was one of the first guys that I can ever think of that could swerve and not lose pace.
Yes.
He just stayed the same pace, beating players, because most guys got to sort of stop and then not Larry. See, a little bit of indigenous magic there, mate.
He was absolutely.
It's even standing out when you're doing the press conference before with Channel 9 and other media.
Channel 7, mention my old
Channel 7, of course. But I was standing in the dead ball area just out there, and I said to you, Widow, like, how many times would have Gary Jack stood here and just surveyed the so it's
Keith Barnes.
Like all those
just
legends.
Passed away the other day.
So we're walking on the same
Keith
turf.
Barnes would have taken bombs in there.
Yeah.
Well, the old stand up there, we're looking at it at the southern end there is the Keith Barnes stand.
And Junior, that can't be moved, or it's got the
Heritage listed.
Heritage listed,
as far as I'm aware.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing.
If the termites don't get it.
Yeah.
I was talking to Witch the other day. We were talking about suburban grounds, how, little memories. And we were talking about, you'd walk in and anyone would get the first try scorers or the double, and the bloke coming with the sugar-coated peanuts,
So I said to Ray when he said
hill.
that, this is what it used to be like on the Paddington Hill.
Go.
Peanuts in the shell of sugar, coated, 20 cents, peanuts. There was another Greek guy there, because my father always sat us on the Paddington Hill to watch South's game of the round in the late 60s and early 70s. There was a Greek bloke that used to come in there. He had a huge basket, and this was his. Fresh fish. And you do remember this? The other normal peanut guy come round with the little bag of peanuts. They were 20 cents. Someone at the back would pass the 20 cents down, and you would pass the bag of peanuts back up to the dude. Now, how far would a 20 cent piece get down the seats now? But I remember those things with my dad and my sister, and I'm talking about I was less than 10 years old then. And those memories, and getting a hot dog from a bloke my mum grew up with in Paddington, Mr. Thompson, and he'd see us coming.
Tomo.
And he'd have 3, his name was Lockie Thompson, he'd have 3 hot dogs ready, and he knew my dad because he married my mum, and he grew up 4 doors down the road from mum. G'day, Roy. He'd go, g'day, Lockie, there's a hot dog for you and Christine and Michael. Tell Beryl I said hello, which is my mum. And we never paid for a fucking hot dog. Yeah. It was such a big deal.
What you could tell about your hot dog selling career, Junior?
Interesting.
You didn't sell a hot dog here, Junior.
I did. Well, no. I've got
You're Junior.
No, that was the progression hot dog. So what happened was, living opposite the ground, I was offered the opportunity to earn some pocket money, and on that hill, which... Remember the old hill the ground used to run the other way. The hill was even much, much bigger than that.
Oh, wow.
And I sold soft drinks. Actually, they started off as cordial drinks, and then it became soft drinks. And I did that up until I was about 16. And then I got the opportunity.
Coke or Fanta or whatever?
Oh, I can't remember what it was.
And did you have to have the get the top off it?
Nah.
No screw tops in those?
They used to use their teeth
actually,
with it.
They did.
Yeah.
Like that
Actually,
lid off
I think my memory serves me. It was mostly cordial cups.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in those days because I don't think the cans were around there.
Jesus,
mate.
how old are you? Before
I'm very
cans
old.
and bottles.
Very
we're
old.
all
He was
very
in that
old.
movie back in the first Kangaroo.
Anyhow, so what happened was I must have done a reasonable job selling these drinks on the hill, which was very steep, and I remember falling over a few times, and the cordial would go over some of the customers. But I got an opportunity to be promoted to hot dog seller, and there was a stand just over near the gate. Don't laugh at me. There was
I'm clapping. Ray's
I've never heard this before.
Hot
I've heard all your
doggy.
stories.
No,
You just keep those
I got
stories
promoted.
in that back
Hot doggy, hot doggy, get your hot doggy. Tomato sauce or mustard, 30 cents. Hot doggy, hot doggy. So I still remember it. And that was over near the main entrance there, just inside the main entrance. And I was very
The Mary Street entrance, isn't it? The Mary
Street entrance. I was very square. I remember I was really conscious because the guy who Leichhardt Wanderers used to actually run it, and the guy who was my boss said, Wayne, you don't give any freebies away. So I never gave any freebie hot dogs away, and my mates were very filthy on me. And then I actually got a promotion from there, believe it or not, when so I was there from about 16, selling hot dogs until I turned 18. And when I turned 18, Keith Barnes, the great Keith Barnes, who just passed away recently, offered me a job at working at Balmain Leagues Club behind the bar. So I actually didn't have to work down at because bear in mind, back then, I tell you what I used to work pretty much every Wednesday during the footy season because that was the Amco Cup. And the Amco Cup back then, and it was freezing. You get that wind coming up from the south, and the hot dog stand was right in the middle of the corridor where the breeze would come through, and but they were all great memories.
So, Junior, you served beer behind the bar at Balmain Leagues Club for a month.
And spirits.
And then you went, I'm not touching that shit. I see how it makes people. And you've never drank, have you?
No, I never touched the...
Which is hilarious. No. I bring this up. You go to Wayne Pearce Hill, and you go, and all they do is drink and smoke up there and cheer the footy on it. It's named after me, and I've never done that.
Actually, it did pass through my mind when Darcy Byrne, the mayor, first mentioned it. I said, well, do you think that's appropriate? I mean, given that I'm on a drink. He goes, no, of course. People don't understand that.
They get it. They have an extra one for you. Now, we've got a couple of extra podcasts to do. Do we need to wind you
So it was just
up?
one last question, because we've got Darcy Byrne coming up next, and just a funding issue. How much do you know about the stuff at play with the government? Are you involved in any of that or not?
No, I'm not aware of where that's progressed to at the moment, but I'm optimistic that sense will prevail and that funding will be forthcoming for the Oval here, because as I've said a number of times, it's been 50 years since there's been a significant upgrade, and that was when this stand that we're in was built and the ground was reconfigured. So, I think it's fair enough given the amount of use the Oval gets by not just rugby league but all the other sports and junior sports and athletics as well. So
hundreds of games are played on this ground of all different sports, aren't they? It's really crazy.
It's a great community.
So what are we saying? Come on, Minzy, get your hand in your kick. What's going on?
I want to interrupt before. Sorry, Dawsey, to do that. Someone very honest here at Leichhardt. Someone's handed in a phone. Any of you guys own this phone?
Is that your phone?
Is that yours? Yeah. You left it behind.
I did, because I was so excited to get up here to do the podcast.
Couldn't wait.
Let's give him a big hand. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
But on that note, look, thanks for your time, Junior. I know you're busy today, and you've covered your history of the ground, and we're going to have Darcy Byrne on next. So,
and then we're going to storm the Premier's office and say, Minzy, get your hand in your kick. What's going on?
Yeah.
You coming with me, Junior? Good on you, Junior.
And until we see you at a gig, Junior, which will be pretty soon, we'll catch you then.
Thanks.
See you then, guys. Thanks a lot.
Bro.